Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome back to the BTM channel, and in today's video I'm going to be doing my official tier list rankings slash kind of power rankings of all the 32 NFL teams following the 2024-2025 NFL season. So this is kind of where I see all these teams going into next year, like where I would rank them at. I'm not going to do like specific number rankings. I'm just going to put them in best, great, solid, bad, awful. So yeah, without further ado, let's start off with the category of awful. So we're going to start from the bottom, work our way up. So the first team I'm going to put into awful, and again, this is kind of no particular order here, is got to be the Cleveland Browns. Deshaun Watson tore his ACL again. Myles Garrett just requested a trade. They got a lot to work on. And yeah, I just think they got a lot to work on over the offseason, and I don't think they're going to really do much next year. So I got them in awful. And then next team I got is the Tennessee Titans. Kind of the same deal. They have Will Levis, but he's really not that great. Let's be honest here. Not that great of a quarterback. Offense is kind of mid, and their defense is okay too. I mean, they're just a very below average team. Maybe they get up to like 4-ish wins, but I just don't see them doing much next year either. And then another team that I would put in awful has got to be the New York Jets. I mean, you got to think. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is leaving. Apparently that's already been like decided. He will not be coming back there. But like they had what, like, I don't know how many wins last year. But now you're losing Aaron Rodgers. I don't know that Devontae Adams is still got to be under contract next year. I just see that this team, I just see it plummeting. I mean, not that it really went anywhere with Aaron Rodgers, but I see them plummeting. I think they're going to be awful next year. And then the next team I'm going to put into awful is got to be the Oakland Raiders. Same deal. They kind of need to add a quarterback. They might add like Shedeur Sanders. We don't know. I mean, we don't know who they'll add in the draft. They have some cap space to work with, so hopefully they make some moves. But either way, I don't think they're gonna be that great going into next year. And yeah, I'm gonna keep the Raiders in awful. And then let me see. Is there anyone else I want to put? Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, we're gonna put the New York Giants in awful. At this point, we don't know who their quarterback's got to be. It might be... I mean, they had Drew Lock playing, at the end of the year last year. Is it got to be him again? Hopefully not, because that was hard to watch. But they'll probably draft somebody new. But Giants, I could see them taking a jump, but right now, I just don't see it. Organizationally, I think they got a lot to work on. Their offense is kind of mid besides Malik Neighbors. Defense is okay. I don't know. That's the only team. That's kind of why I put them here on the end, because they could probably sneak into bad. I think I have a little hope for them, but not much. Okay, so that's got to be all the awful teams. These are the teams I think that are just got to be awful. Like 4 wins or less probably for all of these teams. And then now we'll move to the bad teams. So, first team I'm starting off with is the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think they got a ton of work to do on the offensive side of the ball. That offense was atrocious to watch. Russell Wilson's probably not coming back. I don't know. It seems like there's got to be a point where Mike Tomlin just finally just crashes, and it feels like it's got to be next year, in my personal opinion. So I got the Steelers in the bad category. And then the next team I got is the New Orleans Saints. I don't think I need to say much here. They got a lot of money wrapped up, and not the best players you want to have the money wrapped up in. And yeah, their offense is pretty awful. Derek Carr is out, seems like all the time. Even if he is playing, he's pretty mid. Their defense is So at this point, yeah, I'm going to say Saints are definitely in the bad category. And then next team I'm going to put in the bad category has got to be the Colts. I don't think Anthony Richardson is that franchise quarterback they've been looking for. I hate to say it. to all you Colts fans, but I just think they got some work to do going forward, and yeah, I'm gonna keep them in the bad category. And then next team I'm going to put into the bad category is the Cardinals. They were actually solid last year. They did, once Kyler Murray was back, obviously he was back last year, drafted Marvin Harrison. They had some bright spots. But again, I don't really see them taking a jump to like the 8 to 9 win mark, which is kind of what I'm looking at with the solid teams. So I'm going to keep them where they're at. I'm going to keep them in bad. And maybe they get 7 wins-ish. But I still think they got some work to do for sure. And then next team I'm going to put in the bad category has got to be the Chicago Bears. Caleb Williams looks nice. Otherwise, they got some work to do on the defensive side of the ball. Offensively, I feel like they got the pieces for them. But yeah, I don't think they're going to be able to do much this offseason. I think they've spent a decent amount of money, in past free agencies that I don't think they're going to be able to improve much. I think the draft, they'll get a few guys, but I'm going to say they get probably about 6-ish wins for them. And then next team I'm going to put in the bad category is got to be the Jacksonville Jaguars. They got a new coach. Otherwise, they were awful last year, pretty much. And yeah, I think they got quite a bit to work on offensively, defensively. So the Jaguars, it's crazy the plummet they took last year, but I don't see it getting much better next year. All right, so that's got to be all the teams for my bad category. Now we'll move into the solid categories. So these are teams I see getting around 8 to 9 wins, maybe 7, 7 to 9 wins ish. So first team I'm going to put is the Carolina Panthers. I think they'll be okay next year. I think they will take a little bit of a jump. Bryce Young looked very good last year, and I think they're going to take a jump next year. Next team I'm going to put is going to be the Dallas Cowboys. Now, for that, it's got to be interesting. I'm really interested to see if the Cowboys stay afloat or if they sink. Because right now, it's hard to say. I don't know. Is Mike McCarthy still got to be the coach next year? I'm not sure on that. Y'all let me know. But Prescott, of course, was hurt. He'll be back. CeeDee Lamb will be there. Of course, I think their offense will be fine. And their defense is obviously, I still think, is still a solid defense. So I'd say they're going to regress a little bit from playoff. I don't think they'll make the playoffs. But I think they'll be an overall solid-ish team in the NFL. And a team you probably won't want to play week in, week out. And the next team I'm going to put in the solid category has got to be the Dolphins. I think once Tua got back, we saw them kind of get a lot better. They're definitely one of those regular season teams that once they get to the playoffs, it's not that great. But yeah, I don't know. I just see with Tua, I think they'll get Tyreek Hill back. I don't know. I don't see them being a great team though. I'm gonna keep them in solid. And then next team I'll put in solid is the Patriots. I have them taking a little bit of a leap here. I think Drake May and that offense has got to look a lot better. I mean, they had some moments this year, like I said, where Drake May was playing good. They've had some moments where they looked actually pretty solid. So I do have some hope for the Patriots. I'm going to say they get around 8-ish wins. And their defense also is improving, I think, and will keep improving over the offseason. And then another team I'll put into solid is the Bucks. Obviously, they made the playoffs this year, had, 10 wins-ish, I believe. But yeah, Baker Mayfield's finally found his home. But that being said, I still think they're definitely not in that great category. And yeah, I'd say they'll be on the fringe of making the playoffs next year. And then another solid team here, I feel like this team's almost the definition of solid, is the Chargers. Seems like every year they're kind of good, but they're not great. They might make the playoffs or they might barely miss it. I think Herbert's a great quarterback, but I don't think he's the next level. But I think they'll take a little step down. I think they got, 10-ish wins this year. Maybe a little more, actually. I don't see that happening again. I'm going to put them in solid. And yeah, All right, this solid category, like I said, I think this has got to be my most packed category for sure, because there's always a bunch of teams that I think, oh yeah, they could get 8 to 9-ish wins. Next team I'll put here is the Falcons. Again, going back to that NFC East, Michael Penix started playing. He actually looked very good in the games I watched of the Falcons. And yeah, I do think he will be kind of effective for that team, and I think he will continue to improve. That offense is pretty nice with Bijan, Drake London. The defense is actually pretty good, forcing turnovers, all that stuff. I have them in the solid category, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if the Falcons win the NFC East over the Bucs next year. So yeah, that is another team I got put into my solid category. Next team up has got to be the LA Rams. They did obviously make the playoffs this year. Didn't. No, they beat they beat Vikings round 1. So they made it to the second round. Not bad. But the team, I feel like Stafford's getting a little older. Cup might get traded. There's just a lot of things going on with that team that right now I can't say, oh yeah, they're gonna be great next year. I'm gonna say they probably get around 8 to 9 wins and stay in that solid category. And we're almost done with the solid category, guys. Next team I'm gonna put is gotta be the Texans. Saw them in the playoffs. Just that first game, it was like, wow, Texans are solid, and they actually had a very good playoffs. I mean, basically kind of beat the Chiefs, you know what I mean? In my opinion, you know what I mean? A lot of bad calls in that game. But yeah, I think with CJ Stroud there, I think they're going to be kind of one of those teams, gets 9-ish wins every year, maybe 10. Again, that's kind of why I put them on the fringe of great. They're in a bad division. Yeah, I got the Texans as my final solid team. Now, we'll move to the great teams and the best teams. So, starting it off with a great team next year is got to be the Broncos. They were borderline almost a solid team, for me in my rankings. But, they got Bo Nix. That was kind of a surprise at how good he was. I think they got overall good coaching staff there. And I think they'll stay consistent going into next year. Obviously, their defense is amazing. So, yeah, I got the Broncos in great. And then the next team I'm going to put in this category is got to be the Seahawks. Again, kind of another one of those teams. Every year, they're kind of, good until the playoffs hit. And then it's like, oh, okay. It's kind of disappointing for the fans. But I have them getting probably between 9 to 10 wins, kind of on the fringe of the playoffs as well. I could honestly borderline both these teams right here. I could borderline put in solid, but I'll leave the Seahawks in great for now. And then now, kind of, we're getting to some teams I would say are definitely got to be more of a level up. So one team I got is the Vikings. Of course, they had a great regular season, went 14-2, fantastic. I do see them regressing a little bit this next year. I think they have a little bit more difficult of a schedule. But I do think they will be good. They got a great coach. Will it be J.J. McCarthy or Sam Darnold? We don't know. But I'm going to say they're going to be great next year. And then my... I don't know if this will be my final great team. I'm going to put the Washington Commanders. It was amazing what Jane Daniels did this year. He got them to the conference championship. That was amazing. I don't think they're going to be that good again this year. I feel like they got a little lucky at points in some of these games where it's like, all right, how did you do that? Like the Hail Mary, they had one where like Terry McLaurin took it 80 yards for a touchdown. Like there was some ridiculous plays for the Commanders. They were a very lucky-esque team, I would say. But I'm going to say they're going to be a great team. They're probably going to make the playoffs again next year. Okay. So, now, actually, I'm not going to move on to the best category yet. Now, I'm going to say the Packers stay great. Again, they got the coaching staff. We kind of see it every year with the Packers. They're kind of that team, gets 10, 11 wins. Always a threat. But I wouldn't say like a huge threat once they get to the playoffs. It's kind of like, oh, you got the Packers. That'll be a tough game. but you're not like scared out of your mind that they're gonna beat you. So I'm gonna say Packers stay great next year. I think they're gonna stay around kind of where they were at this year. And then now we'll move into the best teams category. First and foremost, looking at these teams, any surprises to you guys? Because at this point, you guys know who's going to be in the best category. So I'll do some specific. I'll do a actual number ranking here. So I'm basically gotta say, I don't know how many teams are here. Let's see, 7. So 7 teams. I'm gonna say, if I put the Lions here, that's gotta be my 7th team in my rankings. So starting it off, now that we are in the best category, I am going to say the 7th best team going into next year has got to be the Detroit Lions. I am going to stick with what I said. I'm going to say the Lions. It was kind of weird with the Lions. You know, it was like we really thought they were going to be a Super Bowl team, possibly in the NFC. Well, I didn't. I thought the Eagles would, and of course I was right. But not to sound like that sounded a little cocky, but my bad. I'm gonna say they stay in the best category, though. I think they're gonna be a very good team. Gets 12 to 13-ish wins, and is definitely a big threat in the playoffs. And then at my 6th spot, I'm going to put the Baltimore Ravens. Yeah, I mean they're always good. They're gonna be a threat in the AFC North, of course. Yeah, I feel like I don't need to say much for them. Again, they're pretty consistent, you know, with being good. Especially with that running back quarterback duo they got now. I wish, man. Be nice. Actually, you know what? I got Joe Burrow. No, screw that. I got Joe Burrow and Chase Brown. And then the next team I'm going to put is got to be the San Francisco 49ers. Now, they were extremely disappointing last year. They had injuries. They had all types of issues. But I'm going to say they get a little better this year and move back to, I believe they were my 5th ranked team going into next season. And then now I will put my Cincinnati Bengals at number 4. I'm not gonna be too cocky. I'm not gonna put them number 1. All that. I know y'all think you're gonna put the Bengals number 1 because they're your favorite team. But yeah, I'm gonna put them at the number 4 spot. I know some of y'all probably think I'm crazy. But again, the reason I get so upset whenever I react to Bengals games is because I know how good we really are. Like all those 1-score games we had last year, it's like I can't even describe it. But I do really think after this year, this is one of these years I really hope, and I in my heart I truly believe that. For the Bengals, I think they finally realized this year, okay, we can't mess around at the beginning of the season again. Like, we can't do that. We need to start from the jump, start winning right away. And I think they're going to maybe amp it up a little bit, take things a little more seriously. So anyways, I got the Bengals at the 4 spot. And then at my 3 spot, I got the Buffalo Bills. Of course, they're very close to being the Chiefs. Again, controversial calls in that game. Yada, 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 etc., etc. We can talk about that all day. But yeah, you know, again, another one of those teams consistently good every year, and will definitely be a team. I wouldn't say necessarily Super Bowl contender. To be honest, you know, I'll leave it how it is. But I could honestly see, you know, switching these two right here. You know, but for now, I'll leave it with what I said. You know, with the Bills here, but. Yeah, I do think the Bills should be good again. And then on my 2 spot, I got the Chiefs. Of course, they obviously went 14-2 this year. Played fantastic. Not really. Let's be honest, they weren't even that great. To be honest, I could definitely see them moving down. The only reason I have them here is because they do have Patrick Mahomes. I'll give respect where respect is due. But I do think the Chiefs team might regress a little bit. Especially in the regular season. I think the regular season was just a complete fluke with the amount of wins they got. But overall, going into the playoffs next year, I still think they'll be there and they'll still be definitely a top contender for the Super Bowl. And then final team at number 1, we got is the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, they just won the Super Bowl. They completely dominated the Chiefs. I don't know. Did the Eagles dominated my Bengals when they played? It was like 37-7. It was a blowout. They played I don't know if they played the Bills. Either way, the Eagles have been a very dominant team all year. And yeah, they showed it, especially in the playoffs, of course. So that is my rankings. Let me know what you guys think about this kind of list right here. And yeah, let me know if you guys want me to do more videos like this. Make sure to like and subscribe. Peace out.